that happens. Whoops, this meeting is being recorded, so I better be careful what I say. So, and all of you too. Anything that you say may be used as an evidence against, but anyway. So, hey, today we're going to do quizzes. Okay, quizzes are ways to teach your students on content that you have covered. I normally have 1 or 2 quizzes in the middle of my class just to break the monotony. I normally have, the poll questions every 10 to 12 minutes. And at the top of the hour, I open up a quiz, let's say 3 or 4 questions, or maybe 5 questions on the content, either from the previous class or just on what was being done just the past hour. That way, I keep the students engaged. And otherwise, students will just turn it on and then they just go out for, a walk with the dog or something like that. Just they are like, oh, my attendance is done. Or maybe the dog takes them out. I don't know, one of those two. So this way they can't, and they have to be on top of this. All right. Now the quizzes normally come hidden. And so you got to go to your navigation. So I'm going to use my sandbox as an example. If you go to the navigation setting, you have the sections that are enabled and items that are disabled. So I just had to pull quizzes from here to there and then save the configuration. So that way now quizzes will appear here. Now, I like to have the quizzes in there, although some instructors prefer not to, and that's just a preference. Most instructors that I've seen, have a quiz item here. These icons represent quizzes. That will lead them to that quiz. But having the quiz appear here, the students can also click on it, and it can take them to the quiz section as well. Like in this case, yeah, all of these are quizzes which all of you will take before the end of the day today. Okay, so how do you create a quiz? I have done 2 ways of making a quiz. Initially, I used to rely on my own way of making a quiz. For example, I would just go here, plus quiz, and I would name this quiz, okay? My dummy quiz or something like that. Very creative that way. And then I'll tell them, you have 2 attempts to get this right. Something to let them know what they are going to be answering and things like that. Okay. Now there are 2 tabs up here. This is the details of the details of the quiz itself. And then the second tab will go into the questions that you might want to ask. That's part of this quiz. The other detail part here is what type of quiz is this going to be? So if you drop it down here, a practice quiz, I want you to show the default is a graded quiz. But if you go down to the practice quiz, you will notice that there are no points, for the practice quiz. All right. This option is kind of dangerous to shuffle answers. I tend not to do that. That's primarily because some of my quiz questions will have multiple choice, and I will have something like choice A, B, and C, and the D choice will be none of the above. So if I turn this on, there is a possibility that none of the above will be the first choice. And so that kind of bombs the whole quiz and makes myself, students know how different my teaching style is, and now that's going to confirm it. So I don't normally turn this on. That way it keeps the order in which the answers show up. This will help both quizzes that you are creating and also quizzes that you're importing from a publisher site. This is, again, okay, time limit. How much time do you want to give, for the students to answer the entire set of, questions? So I would normally give about, 2.5 to 3 minutes per question. I'm very liberal that way because I'm also going to give them multiple attempts, at least 2, if not 3. All right. And if the subject matter is important, for, let's say, interview questions type of things. And if the content is very critical, like for example, these days, anything with cybersecurity, and there are some core concepts that I teach them in the class, I will have them give them more attempts, because my goal is not to take away points. My goal is for them to earn as much points as they can. So I give them more attempts that way. Sometimes this is a deterrent. If there are students in my class that have special accommodation, then I have to be cognizant of that as well. So depends on your class. You have to play by those cards. Okay. Again, allowing multiple attempts, and you can be very cruel and take the lowest. Oh, there's the latest here. Okay. Or you can take the average. Average is kind of also bad, but I always tend to give them the highest, because they work for it, or they were very successful in copying the answer from the internet. They had to do some research, right? And so, yeah, sometimes it's not the best way, but again, I'm someone that will like to give them more opportunity to succeed, and so forth. Pat has a question. When setting a time limit, can you set a longer time limit to accommodate a particular student? I'm going to come to that in just a minute, Pat. Okay. The answer is yes and no. We'll have to change your quiz to accommodate that particular student. Okay. Again, this is a one-size-fit-all, and obviously, we can't do that if you have, students that have special accommodation requests. So allowed attempts. Normally, I would give them 2, if not, 5, right? And then how do you want the students to learn, from this quiz? There's no point in, grading this assignment if the students don't know, what they got wrong and what they got right, right? So it depends on, again, personal preferences in here. I would normally check this box. Oh, not that one, sorry. Here, let the students see the correct answers only after the last attempt. Again, it depends on how you want to, organize this. And each of these options are, kind of self-explanatory. But if you want them to have hide all the answers until attempt number 3 or 5 in this case, then you check this box. Or if you want them to learn the answers after each attempt, then you would check this box. Okay, this is also something that I would check, because again, I want them to learn what they got wrong, so I'll check that one as well. Or if you want to hide all the answers until after a certain time limit, okay, this could be like your final exam or something like that, where you don't want the students to see the answers at all. So you would set this show correct answers at, or hide correct answers at. You don't want to show them the answers at that point. Okay. This is something that I don't normally use. This is because it's annoying. It'll only show one question at a time, and if the students want to move on ahead and then come back to this later, I would just keep it unchecked. Again, if you want, depending upon the class, for example, if it's something that you want the students to go back, then you have to check this on and then leave this unchecked. Or if you don't want the students to go back, and it's only one direction, this is the height of, cruelty. But anyway, if that's your personal preference, I don't want to talk to you. But anyway, that's a different story. Okay. A lot of questions after answering, not necessarily, because you want them to go back and maybe just look at it again and change the answers if they change their mind or something. Okay. Give a little bit of self-doubt. Yeah. So that they become better, decision makers is my principle. So I would uncheck that, and I would uncheck that too. But if you wanted to, again, this is all personal preference, and depending on the class that you are teaching, this may change. Okay. For most of the classes that I have taught, I have never had a reason to enable this. I want them to see all the questions ahead of time. There may be scenarios in different classes, maybe in math or English or any of the other classes, that you want them to just focus on one question at a time and then answer it and then move on. Then that'll be a good choice to check this. All right. This is what I was talking about, require an access code. Let's say this is probably one way that you can address, Pat. You can let the student know that, yeah, it kind of beats the purpose. If you let the students know that you have an hour to complete, but then you will have the person who requires the accommodation not to attempt it during that time, but after the rest of the students have taken their test, you can go back and require an access code. You can set up a password in here, stinking potatoes or something like that. Okay, or dancing potatoes, dancing monkey, whatever your favorite password is. You can just set it up there, send it to the particular student or students, and only they will be able to access this quiz. And of course, there's a little bit of trust involved that they won't publish this picture onto Facebook, but there's nothing you can do if it comes to that. So yeah, I'm going to have Whitney answer those questions on the side while I'm going to continue here. So if you want me to slow down so that you can assimilate the answers, please let me know. Otherwise, I can continue on here. Okay. That is correct. Yeah. So you let the other. I'm answering Pat here. Yes, you let the other students take the test like they would, with the time limit provided. Let's say 120 minutes or so, 2 hours. And then you wait for them to complete, and then you lock it down with a password, and then you can email the special access students and say, hey, the quiz is now open for you. And I would normally at that point remove this and then let them take as long as they want, okay? Or if they have, mentioned in their accommodation letter, 1.5 times or 2 times, then I will calculate it accordingly, and then I will place that time in there. Okay.
Yeah, so the other way to do that is through the moderation of the quiz. I think you would have to hit save for us to see that though.
Oh, got it. Okay. Let me continue on this and then I'll go back and I'll do that. Okay. Now, I never had to do this. This is in case you know that the students are going to be, again, you need to know a lot of stuff, before you can address this. This is kind of dangerous because if they give you an IP address and if they are in a home situation, like as it is now, and if their network goes down and comes back up, they're going to get a different IP address and this won't work. So better is, just safely avoid that. Yeah. Okay, and then assign to everyone. This is something you can do. You want to assign this quiz specifically to certain people, you can do that too. Okay, so I can say right there, it's just only for John and not for everyone else. And I'll make it, that much more tougher, for him, so things like that. Due date, of course, this is like any other assignment. It's available from and until. So when it crosses the until, they won't be able to see the quiz anymore. It is unpublished for them. Okay. Let's see here.
No, a note on that is you can have a due date, an available from and until dates. You can have none of them, or you could have 2 of them, or you could have 1 of them. They all work alone by themselves, so you don't need to have all 3 necessarily.
That is true. Yeah, thanks, Whitney. This box is on every assignment, including the quiz. It's good to put a due date in there. The reason is the moment you put a due date, it will show up on their calendar. Where is their calendar thing here? I don't see the calendar here. Maybe it's not part of this.
It'd probably be on the.
Oh, here. Sorry. The moment you put a due date in here, it will show up on the student's calendar. If you don't put it in, it won't show up. And so if the students are going by the calendar of events, they will totally miss this quiz. Okay. And it'll kind of mess up even the gradebook if you sort it by due dates, or the view, ascending and all that. This won't, this will be in an odd position where you will tend to miss it. Students will tend to miss it. So always put a due date on it if you want to leave the other two blank. All right. Yeah, providing an until is also good. I would normally give them 1 day or 2 days, let's say during the final exam week. Let's say I scheduled the test on Wednesday. Let's say this is a final exam quiz. So I will say this is available from, okay, what's tomorrow? April 21st. And I'll say from 9 a.m. And then I'll give them 22nd, 9 a.m. So they've got 1 full day, to do this. So within that day, or within that 24 hours time span, they got 120 minutes anytime they start, to finish. Okay. And if it is multiple attempts, then yeah, they got to wrap it up, within that time frame. Okay. Again, you don't have to provide it like Whitney said, but it's something to provide at least the until and the due date so that it will show up on their calendar. Yeah, this goes for any assignment, for that matter. So I'm going to save this for now. Oh, let me put the due date. Also, April 21st. Yeah, you cannot put a due date that's past the until. It'll complain. But yeah, you save it. Not all sections will be assigned this item. Okay, so this is unpublished. Now let's go back in there and let's look at, again, this is a practice quiz, so this kind of beats the whole purpose. If it's a graded quiz, yeah, now you will see other things. Which assignment group, do you want this to be weighted against? Okay, so you have different assignment groups. If you go to your assignments tab in here, right? So if you click on this one here, okay, there's the 3 dots there. This is my assignments page. And the 3 dots over there will show you the different weights or different sections in here. I haven't done it. There you go, final exams. So this is just a practice thing, so it may not line up with what we are doing here, but I have 2 final exams in here. Ooh. But this could be quizzes. That's what I mean by exams in here. This could be assignments, write-up, discussions. All those things will be here. These are the major subcategories or groups. And you can make this particular quiz over here part of the final exam group. So whatever you throw into this final exam group, will be average against that weightage, in that. Then you can, yeah, the points don't show up here. The points will show up depending upon how you establish the quiz. We will come to that in just a minute. Let's see here. A graded survey. Students will automatically receive full credit once they take the survey, 10 points, 50 points, if you want to entice them to do that. Or sometimes if you want to do a graded survey for advising day. Did you attend advising day and get your plans done or academic plans done, right? So I normally would throw a quiz, a graded survey like that. Just have to answer yes or no. And in fact, I think I have them also take a picture or something like that. But anyway, so that's the graded survey and ungraded survey. Okay. Now, ungraded survey will not show up on your grade book versus the graded survey will. Okay. Same thing with the practice. It will say practice quiz, but it will not be counted towards your final grade. Okay. I'm going to keep it as a graded quiz. Then we go over to the questions in here. Now you will see this is very flexible. I'm going to show you two ways. The first way is you running your own questions. Okay, you're making up your own questions, true or false, multiple choice, whatever. The way that you start is you would just go hit this new questions. Okay, we're going to come to these two later. Okay, so let's go with the new question, and it'll open up a question editor. And this is the what type of question it is. Multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blanks, fill in multiple blanks, you know, so on and so forth. I don't have to go down the line here. When it comes to the fill in the blanks, and so if you have a mixed type of quiz, meaning let's say you have true and false, you have matching, multiple answers, multiple choice, and fill in the blanks. The true, false, multiple answers, multiple choice are auto graded. Once you provide the question and the answers, they are automatically graded against those correct choice of answers that you provide. The fill in the blanks is something you have to go in and moderate that individually. Okay, that's the only difference there. So if you want to keep your quizzes to be auto graded, then you can't put those essay questions or short answers or the fill in the blanks wherever there is custom input from the students. Yeah, Canvas is not intelligent enough to match against any answers that you can provide. And so those things you may have to go in and edit the grade, you know, for that student. So let me just create a multiple choice question here. So you have the editor. I would normally put it at 14 point. Again, it's personal preference. I'm going to show you the difference between a 12 point and a 14 point. 14 point shows much bigger and clearer. Okay. Yeah. So let's say the question is, you know, what color are, you know, aircraft black boxes? Ta-da. Okay. Again, I can move this arrow. Let's say I'm going to put the choices down here. I'm going to say black, okay, white, blue, and orange. Okay, so possible answer, when you hover over it, it's going to show the possible answer. The correct answer is actually orange. It's bright orange, but you know, I don't know why they call it the black boxes, but anyway, so that's it. So you can move it. It defaults to the first question, first answer to the correct answer, but you can move it. So whichever you click here becomes the correct answer. So if John comes along as a student and he answers, it's a black box, it's got to be black, you know, this would mark as 0 against it. So this is the points I forgot about that. Let's say you get 5 points or 3 points or 2 points, right? And Whitney comes along, you know, she's a smart cookie, and so she'll come and say, oh, of course it's bright orange, and she gets full points for it, okay? And you can provide an explanation in here. You can say, good job, or something like that.
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, so that it is visible underwater. It is also luminescent. Luminescent. I don't know how I spell it, but is that right? That's why we have spell checkers. There you go, luminescent. So that when, you know, light is shed on it, you know, even from a distance, it'll light up. And of course, it's got a beacon and sonar and all those things. But yeah, if it was black or blue underwater, you know, you don't get to see it at all. It's dark, you know, so like that. It can provide answers. So if it's like this, you can say, really? Something nasty like that, but no, don't say something like that. You can say, yeah, dark colors are not preferred because it is difficult to search. Okay, difficult to search, okay, underwater. Something like that. Okay, so when they click the answer, and they all the attempts have passed, depending upon the settings on the previous page, it'll come back and say your answer is wrong because dark colors are not preferred. Okay. Now, if you want more answers, if you want to put all the spectrum of colors, add another answer. You can add another color here if you wanted to. Just totally take them offline. Rainbow, something like that. Update question, and there you go. It's 2 questions now. Look at this one here. So your quiz is now 2 points. So depending on what questions you put in here, those points for the quiz will change. Okay, that's why you can't have the points ahead of time for the quiz. The points are generated as and when you generate the questions and provide the points along with it. Okay, so again, let me repeat this. New question, okay, and let's say true or false, okay, and let's see, what kind of animal is a prairie dog? Actually, this is a true or false question. A prairie dog is a rodent. The correct answer is true. It's not a dog, but okay. Then I would give like 2 points for it. And I can provide answers for true or false and things like that. Update question. So you can see the font size here. So this is font 14. This is the default font 12. So now you see why I like the fonts a little bigger that way. Okay. Yeah, and the points change to 4. All right. So let's see here. Now this is one way. So you can keep developing, these questions, over and over again, new questions, so forth. If I want to, I can also go to the publisher site. So I have an example on this page here. Cengage, for one of my classes last quarter or 2 quarters ago, I have these instructor resources. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to enlarge it there. It's got test banks, for different LMS systems. You got for Angel, for Blackboard, for Canvas, for whatever that is, Moodle, and Word. This is also interesting. This will be good if you want to customize, your quiz. This will be a good approach too. You can just download the Word document and then copy and paste the questions and then modify it slightly so that it is not a verbatim thing. I used to do that before. I will take the questions and I'll kind of switch them around or add some flavor to it so that they cannot search it directly online. But I found out eventually even those questions started to show up online, then I gave up on that. Okay. Yeah, all these different formats. What I had to do was download this particular zip file in here. Now you need to, let me go back and show you where that is. It's on, give me a second. There, it comes on my download page. There you go. So these are the 2 zip files. One was a Word document. The other one was the Canvas zip file. And I want to open both of them to show you the difference. Okay. I think this one is the Word document, I think. Yeah, this is the Canvas zip files. So let me go back again. I should have probably worded it differently or knew what the different files were. But let's see here. The Canvas one had the 864. Okay, so what you would get, this is where it can get a little trippy. So I want you to be, notice this very carefully. So there, each question for each chapter, each question bank is zipped, and the entire thing, all the chapters are zipped into a bigger zip. So here it is. this is the outermost zip file, compressed file. And when you open that up, you get the individual, well, multiple folders, fine. You get the individual chapters also in a zip file. If you are going to import this question bank from the publisher, you should not unzip the individual chapters. You have to leave it as a zip file, because that's the way Canvas can import that as a quiz bank. Okay, so these are what's called quiz banks, and they are in a zip format, because when you go to is it settings? I forgot. Let's see here. Find questions, view course. Yeah, okay, let me go back in here. So this is for questions that you don't have made up yourself. So you're going to import it from the publisher's zip file. You go find questions, multiple ways to get to the same destination. Okay. View course question banks. If you have already other question banks, it'll show up in here. Otherwise, you can go add a question bank. You go click it. Oh, it says here, no name. Now this bank name in here, you can give it whatever you want. I'm just going to say new or test question bank, of course. Very creative there. Test question bank. I can even say chapter 1. Click on it, and I think I'm missing something here.
Yeah, so you want to go to settings.
Settings, right?
Import.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Yeah, you have to go to settings to import. That's right. Yeah. Import course content. You got to go to the outermost settings, on your Canvas. Import course content, import course content. And then here, the content type, you have to select that one.
Yep, QTI.
The last one, the QTI.zip file. And please don't ask me what QTI stands for. It's just that I know it is for the question banks. Qualitative testing, whatever, I don't know. Do you have an acronym for that?
Question and test interoperability specification.
Oh, that's very intuitively obvious for the casual observer. Yeah.
Definitely. I did not.
Okay. All right. So just going to leave it at that one. So let me back up a little bit, right? So this is the question bank after several layers of folders. You want to stop at the individual chapter's zip file. Okay. And that's what you see here. See, it says QTI zip file. Then you click on it. Then it gives you a browse thing. So you can go and address it from, it says in my downloads, it's in this thing here. You got to navigate to the particular, oh God, okay. Did I not extract that? I thought I did. Hold on. Sorry, I was going to demonstrate it while I was talking to you. That's right. So go back here. So you downloaded the zip file from the publisher. Go back in here. So the Canvas, this is a zip file. You downloaded it. You have to unzip it. Yeah, uncompress it, extract all. If you want to put it in the same folder, you can do that, or you can change it to the particular class name if you so choose to. You can say IT 135, 6th edition, something like that. Because if you're doing all these classes at one time, you're going to have multiple classes that you're downloading these question banks from. So I would want to name it something that I can go back to. Okay, so it's extracting, there it is. So once you go inside, yeah, now if you go back to Canvas, you browse again, you have to go to There, now it will start to show all the zip files of the individual chapters. You select the first chapter, click OK, and there it is. If you wanted to put it into a default question bank, you can do that. Or remember, I already created a test question bank. I can do that. And I just say import. Then you just have to wait until Canvas thinks that it's ready. It'll be queued up. There you go. Now it's ready. Now I can go back to quizzes. And find my quiz, my dummy quiz right there. Edit. Go back to the questions. Find the questions. There, test question bank 1. If you have created a question group, you can do that. Or create a new group in here. This will be IT 135, chapter 1. And then how many questions do you want to pick, from the question bank? I forgot how many questions there were in that. Let's say you want to pick 15 questions. And how many points you want to allocate per. I'm just going to say 2, create group. Then you sit back and there it is. And so now the students of your class would be able to, if I publish this, of course. See, it says 0.34. So it was 15 times 2 for the 15 questions you downloaded, and then we got these other 4 questions in there. This question group is set to pick more questions that are available. So apparently there aren't more than 15 questions in that group, but you just have to play with it a little bit to know how many questions there are. And I think that's the reason why I go with the Word document thing. Okay, so if you go back in here, remember the other one, the 67 was the, again, if your publisher is kind enough to provide a Word document thing, this is probably what I would, 4, was it 4 or 7? I keep forgetting. Yeah, Word test bank. There, so I can, let's say, go to chapter 2, then I can pick and choose the questions that I want, from here, and then I can paste it into my Canvas. This is more controllable.
So the other way you can access and look and see what questions are in your question banks you've imported is going to quizzes in general. And then at the top right, clicking on the 3 dots once you get on that page.
It doesn't show it to me.
On the main quizzes page. And then manage question banks.
Oh yeah, there. I see. Okay, yeah, I was going to go, that's right.
Questions are in each one.
0 questions. I don't know why it didn't import anything.
Sometimes it doesn't like to go into the one that you made for it. Sometimes it'll just make its own when you import.
Okay. That's probably what it did in here. Anyway, so that's how you unsuccessfully add questions to the questions bank. Let's go here. Did it add one by itself? No, it did not. So let's go back in here. Oh, this one right there. I think this is the one that it created. April 20th at 12:40. Yeah, Whitney's right. So no matter, yeah. I think this has been a bug forever, and I thought they fixed it, but they didn't. See this one here, no name, that's the default name it will pick if you imported using the QTI zip thing. But if you click on it, yeah, it will still show you all the questions, from chapter 1.
And then you could edit them here if you wanted, or delete or whatnot.
Correct. Yeah. So then you can say edit bank details, and now you can say this will be your, chapter 1 quiz or something creative like that. And here you can move questions to another bank or copy this or delete the questions if you don't feel like this is the one that you wanted. Go to the bottom, you save it. Oh no.
I think it just each one
Auto
individually
saves.
saves. Yeah.
Edit bank details. I didn't like that. Okay, question bank. Then you go to.
Did you hit enter after you named it?
Yeah, I did.
And it still won't do it?
Yeah. I tell Ken, let's see, add a question.
You could try.
I got to go back to the quiz. Yeah. Okay, let's go back to my dummy quiz. Then edit. Questions. New question group. Let's start with the new group. Yeah, now it's starting to show up. So what I'll do is here, I'll delete this because this didn't have any questions in there. So delete that. Yeah, new question group. I'm going to call this chapter 1. Then pick 10 questions with 2 points per link to a question bank. Now you can pick the question bank. The no name. This is really weird now. Did I go past it? Oh, this one probably. Yeah, question bank 1.
It took a minute to change the name.
Yeah. Yeah, questions. So it says your questions will be pulled from the bank 1. Yeah. Then create group. Yeah, don't forget to do that. And there it is. Okay, so 24. So 10 times 2 is 20 plus 4 is 24. Save it. Not all sections will be assigned to this item. I have no idea what this error is. All right. So that's how you create a quiz. Yeah.
So if you go up to moderate this quiz on the right-hand side, you can show how to add specific things. So if you edit on that little, using the little pencil on the far right-hand side.
Okay, let's go with John first. There you go. Extra attempts. There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Whitney. I knew it was there somewhere. I just didn't know where it was. Yeah. So extra attempts. So, John needs some extra attempts in here because both the times he bombed it. So he prefers the color blue and he chose blue twice. And so we'll give them 3 extra attempts and let the students or manually unlock the quiz for the next. Oh, no. So you could also have this done. This will let you know, it'll send you an email after he has done the first attempt so that you can go back in, unlock it. Let's say you want to just give 1 extra attempt. And let's say the person bombed it again. And you feel very sorry for the person and say, okay, I'm going to unlock it for you. That's what this is for. Even if you increase the number of attempts, this is a way for you to monitor to see how many attempts the student took to get it right, for instance. Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll let you each time.
John said, I think you assigned the test to me, so no one else can see it. And then the other thing is, I think you unchecked the time limit on there. And so if you do have a time limit on your quiz, another option will be here to add additional time as well.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. Everyone already gets 5. So it's kind of nice that they put it in here. And then you're giving 3 extra attempts, for that student. So you can save it. So specifically, you can add students in here, from your roster. Sorry, not add students. You can search for students if you have more than one page or something. Yeah. Okay. Anything else with quizzes? See here. Yeah, this is what I have seen. Oh, the other thing. Yeah, the section that all these quizzes fall under comes under this assignment quizzes. That's something, it's creepy, but it's something you can't avoid. I'm trying to see if there's a way to change the name. Probably not. Yeah, it says assignment quizzes. Okay, so under assignments, it will show up as exams assignment. There's no assignment quizzes in here, but when you go to the quizzes section, it'll show up as assignment quizzes. And I have not figured out why it does that, but it is what it is. So don't get confused. You can't be looking for this title under all your assignments group. That's what I was trying to get to. You can change these titles. You can add these quizzes in here. For example, if I wanted to add a quiz in here, no, not here. Yeah, it is here. So type is a quiz, name. Why is it asking me for a name here?
You're creating a new quiz.
Isn't it? So I don't want a new quiz. I just wanted to add a quiz from, oh, my bad. So yeah, these quizzes show up in here, and it'll also show up on the assignments page, and then you have to move it to the right section and then rename it there. Jeez, yeah, that's right.
Right, yeah, and you can drag and drop them from group
one to the other. Yeah. So if I wanted to move this down here, I can do that, or move it up here. And so any of these will be grouped under one group, which shows up under the weight group here. All of these. So exams is that section over there. Assignments was down there, and so forth. Final exam. Yeah.
So a couple questions.
Yes.
McGraw-Hill has test bank questions that are algorithmic, which display different amounts in the question that each student receives. Can Canvas use this type of question? And yes, I believe that is the numerical answer or the formulaic questions. So if you have an import file, it should just create it for you.
So do they have the zip file?
I am not sure. And Pat, you can turn on your mic if you want. Or
Pat,
you can type it in. Doesn't know, but I think so.
Okay. Yeah, my guess would be you can import it, at least one of them, and then see how it shows up, and then you can go to the student view and then see how it shows up.
Yeah, you'll want to just check to see if the question type is formula question.
So if you go to the quiz, add a quiz. So this is the one that Whitney was talking about. It's a formula question.
Yeah.
Or numerical answer, depending upon what that question is.
Yep. The other question is, can you have a Canvas quiz worth, say, 3 out of 0 points, so the quiz will be treated as extra credit?
Yeah, for extra credit, what I normally do is I provide 0 for the points, but that not on a quiz though. So you can put it as a practice quiz, and then
practice quiz wouldn't show up in the grade book.
wouldn't show up either. Yeah.
I think you could probably put similar to an assignment where you put 0 points in the quiz question,
And
but then you would have to manually go in.
Add the 3 or whatever, yeah, to that. Right. So, yeah. So details here, but then if you put questions in here, Whitney, it will start to show the points up there too. But you have to. I don't know if it'll take a 0. Let's say here. What color is blueberry jam? Right. Blue. Purple. Let's say just 2 answers in there. Can I give it a 0 in here? Would it take it? Yeah, I guess it took it. Yeah.
You can either have it be one question for extra credit on the quiz is 0 points, or you could have multiple questions and the whole quiz worth 0, and any points that you give it will then be extra credit, as long as that quiz is in one of the sections that you've grouped your assignments in, or if you're just doing straight points, it will just be added into the overall points percentage, but it won't detract from that overall because it's worth 0.
I'm not sure this is taking it though. Oh, it did. Okay, it didn't save it the last time. I don't know why, but yeah. So Pat, this is the way to do it, right? I think Whitney was saying the same thing. So you can assign 0 points, but then you have to go to the grade book and unnamed quiz. I think this was it. Yeah, test student, you got to provide the points there. Was it the unnamed quiz or some other name? I have too many of these things in here. But yes. How come your names don't show up here?
I think because I'm an admin, it won't let me be added as a student. So I took the test as a test student.
Okay. All right. Yeah, extra credit. Okay, good. Yeah, for extra credit, yeah, I normally give them like an assignment that they have to work out and then submit. To give a quiz, it's kind of a little clunky.
Another common question is, what if you need to change a question after a student's taken a quiz?
Yeah, it's not the most smoothest thing that Canvas does. You have to manually then go into every student and then make sure that, and I've had both ways, and I'm sure Canvas is improving, it's rescoring or regrading algorithms, but I have not been successful in Canvas auto grading it. So let's say there was a question and the answer that I had thought was correct or marked it correctly was wrong, and I go back and I change it. You may have to go in manually to every student and then add the points, for that. For instance, in here, let's go to the grade book. And let's say chapter one. Did you take this chapter 1 exam with me? Okay. So you go to speed grader. Oh, sorry. Let's go modify the answer first. So here, edit questions. Of course, it's got to be from there. I can't see the question. Well, let me add a question. How about that? I'll add a question here. Again, what color is blueberry jam? This is a true false question. Sorry. Blue or berry? No, purple. Oh, okay. I guess I should say blueberry jam is blue in color because it's a true false question. And it's false. And let's say I accidentally gave 100 points in here. No, let's say 10 points. And this was the original run. And Whitney took this test and then she said it's purple. Purple is the correct answer, but then I had marked it wrong. Could you go and attempt this, Whitney?
On it. I was talking to myself.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit these days.
It does, right?
Yeah. Fudge points. Yes, that is true. You can either go to the specific question and then change the points there, or you can hit the end key on your keyboard. It'll go down way to the bottom, and then you can add the fudge points in there, which is sometimes is what I do towards the end of the quarter when I have a few extra things to grade, to go to the individual question and changing it, especially if the questions are randomized. There is no one pattern to it. I just go to the bottom of the page and then I add the fudge points. Although I will get a notification on my gradebook with the red circle that says these needs to be regraded. And so I go to the individual students that have the answers marked wrong. Now it's correct. Okay. And then I add the fudge points for each of those students. Yeah.
Working on it.
Okay. Hurry up. Your time's running out. Did I save it? I don't know if I saved it.
I don't think you saved it.
Oh,
I don't
God.
question.
Okay.
All right. Did you save it?
Yeah, I saved it.
All right. Going in to take it again.
Okay.
And I want to note that the first time I took this, I got 90%, and now I'm just clicking things.
Make sure you click purple. Then I go back and I change it.
All right, almost done. Am I choosing true or false?
The actual answer is false.
But you marked it as true.
True, correct. Yes.
Okay.
If you
I'm
mark
going
it.
to say true. All right, submit it.
Okay. So now I go back and I change the answer. Yeah, see, it says in here, keep in mind the students have already taken it. And it says, yeah, I don't care. There you go. Choose a regrade option for students who've already taken it. Canvas will regard all your submissions after you save the quiz, so students' scores may be affected. Award points for both corrected and previously correct answers. Only award points for the correct answer. Give everyone full credit. Let's say you screwed up so bad that, yeah, that's the that's the last option kind of thing. Right? So let's see here. Award points for corrected and oh wait. Yeah, so this is the option that I'm going to pick. Both corrected and previously correct answers. No, only award points for the correct answers. Yeah, so I'm going to select the second option. So which means that Whitney's score is going to be damaged. Yes. Okay, so
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. There, update question. I think I did that. So when I go back to the grade book.
You might want to save, I think.
Yep, she got 50. Wow, man, you have no hope, man. Yeah. So that's what happens. Yeah. But the problem would be, again, you have to be cognizant of the fact that students have taken it multiple attempts. This will work if it's a single attempt, but students have taken multiple attempts and they figured out what the right answer is, which was wrong. So they go back and learn the wrong thing to make the wrong answer right. And now you go back and you change it. It's not kind of fair. Okay, so you have to do this with all that in mind. So if you just give your questions a single attempt, then this may work out, really well, because, they may come back and say, hey, I think the actual answer is the other one, but you have it marked this way. Okay, so. All right. Oh, yes, I think I can stop the recording. Am I a sub-host to this? Any other questions before? Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording.